Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a very special Risers and Fallers Friday, June 12th. OTAs are kicking off. We've got guys in the Puka Nakua and Devontae Adams role. We've got a very special guest, the podfather himself. Matt, how does it feel being a guest on your own network?
I asked to be on.
Who doesn't love hearing what host doesn't love hearing that?
Yeah, I was like, Chuck, what are we doing for Risers and Fallers this week? You're like, I don't know, man. Maybe and I'm like, why don't I just come on? Okay. Can we talk about these things? Yeah, sure. And then finally, like you kind of came back at me and you were like, well, actually, I'd like to do this and that. What if we talk about all the players that are bombing? And I'm like, yes, Chuck. Yes, this is it. Yes. So wheels have been turning the last couple of days, and we've been kicking ideas. We're gonna have a fun show.
I was laying on a beach chair in the Grand Caymans, and you texted me and said we're gonna do this, and I had several drinks, and I said, if we're doing this, we're gonna get extremely negative. And I've never seen someone more gung ho about clowning on a lot of the players that we're gonna talk about today. Yeah, and the crowd is ready for it too. We got pre-show action. He wants to know we're doing this thing. We're doing this thing. We are doing this thing. We were just having a nice little stadium talk prior to this wonderful show we're about to do, given our favorite and least favorite stadiums to go to. And I think we got a pretty good list.
Yeah, we have a good list. Seattle, you talked about that being your favorite stadium you've visited so far. And it's just, I think that's the crowd and the stadium together.
Yeah.
The whole experience. In terms of actual stadiums, I think the best stadiums in this country are baseball stadiums. Camden Yards, Pittsburgh, those come to mind right away.
The Trop, Tropicana Field, way up there, right? Of course, how could it not be?
I've been to Tropicana Field. Tropicana Field is the best if you're having a bachelor party.
Correct.
So if you have a bachelor party, you can get cheap tickets. We got cheap tickets right on the third baseline. We had a sign. BJ Upton was on the team at the time. And Evan Longoria, and they had a fight in the
Carl Crawford
dugout. Yeah, they fought in the dugout the month prior. So I had a huge vinyl banner created and there was about 10 guys in my bachelor party, and we unfurled the whole banner while the team was coming off the field between innings. It says Evan Hart BJ.
Oh yeah, give me a BJ.
Yeah, and Evan Longoria pointed at us and laughed.
Good.
And BJ Upton was like, didn't even look, like kept his head down the whole time. That's what happened. That's what happened. And then they threw baseballs up at us, and I had an air horn taken away. So we were doing hijinks, man. So yeah, if you want hijinks and just drink some beers at a reasonable price and not have to overpay for a baseball experience, actually the Trop isn't bad, because it's not necessarily like the aesthetics of my bachelor party matter to me big time. So that was time and place for a lot of these things. But yeah, I mean, the baseball stadiums, especially the ones that were built a little bit earlier before they went full McDonald's on these baseball stadiums, the ones that were there was a golden age of renovated stadiums a few decades ago. And again, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, top of the list there. Of course, Wrigley and Fenway are epic and iconic and awesome. But so it's mostly baseball stadiums that you really want to visit if you're doing like a stadium tour of the United States.
Yeah, the Trop is where you go if you want an underage drink. We used to just load up cargo shorts with like 6 packs of like Natty cans, and they just don't even. I mean, if you give them enough money when you walk in the doors at the Trop, they'll let you get on the field and maybe take a swing or two. I mean, it's just it's Mardi Gras, Bourbon Street levels of fandom there that I always really appreciated.
Yeah, I mean, there's not even that much security.
No.
We were having direct conversations with like the bullpen catcher, right, throughout the thing. Like it was. I mean, they fought a guy after like the third time we lit off this like boat air horn. A security guard finally sauntered over and was like, "Hey guys, you got to give us the air horn. Come on."
Yeah,
which it was, some stadiums, it's like the SWAT team will descend.
Sure.
Not happen. A dude that was half engaged with the process, like sauntered over and was like, guys, I need.
Can we not? Yeah, that's so funny because like those were pennant winning teams. Those were teams that were going to the World Series. It wasn't even like this was like, your scrub franchises. Those were winning. They were winning 100 games some of those years.
Oh yeah, we're talking 2010.
Yeah,
Tampa Bay Rays. This was a good team.
Yeah. Good days. Never. And you know what? Nothing's changed about that organization. The only difference between then and right now is that the Trop didn't have a roof for a long time. That was really it.
So what we're doing, I think, is educational. I think you're getting better and you're always trying to get better. What I love about you is you're always asking me, hey, how can I upgrade my equipment? We're working on your lighting today. We got a new logo. I think we're gonna work on getting a new intro.
It's being recognized by the crowd, saying the eyes is popping today. That means I've done probably 50 to 75 shows and people haven't gotten the full benefit of what I have to bring to the aura here.
Yeah, you're in the dark and now you're in the light. It's been great. We're gonna swap out your little intro. Typically with shows in general, we're talking about TV shows, podcasts, whatever it is, even songs. Like, you want to hook the audience. You want to get them talking about what's relevant, why they're here. Our audience, why they're here, is for fantasy football advice. And so typically what you want to do is start strong with a first 30 seconds where you're like, hey, here's what we're going to talk about. Here's what you're going to learn. We're going to get into all these interesting fantasy nuggets. And then you run a little bit of a little branding bumper, and then you're off and running. And what we did was we talked about baseball stadiums and bachelor parties to kick it off. And so everyone that's like, oh, what about what's the story with Alec Pierce?
George Halani. I need the info on Big George right now.
Phil Maffa. Whoa, Jalen Coker just got extended. Talk about him again for the 17,000th time. No. We're going to talk about bachelor parties from 15 years ago and air horns in baseball stadiums. That's how we're going to hook people.
Well, my audience attracts a particular type of individual, and I think that they are opening and welcoming to that in ways that have ruined my personal family life, but boosted my professional career beyond where I thought it would be.
The one thing I know we're going to talk about today is the Arizona wide receiver room, because you had a viral tweet about the Arizona wide receiver room, which was, it's almost like when I saw the news drop that they were comparing Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua to Marvin Harrison Jr. and Michael Wilson, I was like, I wonder what Chuck has to say about this. This is an interesting. I bet Chuck has thoughts on this. So so I'm gonna find that tweet again.
Right here, baby.
And I'm gonna get that out there. And I also noticed that I figured, but I had to verify. You did tweet about Phil Mickelson.
I did, although it wasn't quite as well received. The problem with my tweets is that every time I post one, I expect it to get 50,000 likes. So I really do feel like I bring a consistency to my posts. But this one right here, I'd had sitting in the drafts for a while because you just know that someone's going to come out and say something stupid. And God bless him. Mike LaFleur came out and he said something stupid, and he did it with a stupid haircut. So I found a guy with an equally bad haircut in Miami, and with whose wide receiver core, I'm just dying for him to actually say something like this. But there it is right there. And this is what I feel like we get some version of every season, right? We got the Deebo Samuel role forever. We got the Cooper Kupp role has dominated the last 2 to 3 years. And now we're getting multiple guys. We have 2 roles, 2 all-pro roles for 2 guys who I'm not even sure I want to draft this year. It's a lot of hoopla, Matt.
I'm sorry that the Phil Mickelson post didn't get. You just got to keep swinging.
I do.
You just got to keep swinging. Yeah. I love what you're doing. And so one thing I will say, Phil Mickelson, creep. Phil and I knew this already. And when I heard that he had been kicked out of golf clubs already, I was like, okay, creep. And then when you're like, he's embracing the dark side, Like he went to an all black aesthetic and he suddenly was frowning everywhere. And he was like, no more Mr. Nice Guy. And I'm all about the money. And that's just going to be my brand. It's going to be just an FU brand. And
yeah.
like, when you go full FU brand, you have to kind of be a dark individual. There has to be something percolating under the surface that has sort of shedded this whole notion of ethics and morality.
Yeah.
Typically that's what has to happen, because I have sort of created the persona of the wrestling heel of fantasy, but I've always done it in a way that I was always trying to be very tongue-in-cheek with the whole thing the whole time. And then at some point, the playful Phil Mickelson lost the tongue-in-cheek. And it became, he became that scowling, serious guy that's like burning cash, gambling like crazy. And it's just one big, it's one big cycle where he's like, okay, how do I pay for all this stuff? I've got to go and I've got to just accept every sponsorship from every brand. I've got to work with every partner, no matter how dark and sinister they are. Not going to matter. And so when a guy has that profile, you're just not surprised.
Sure.
Right? If that's the thing is, this is the thing though. My thought was, when I saw that headline about Phil Mickelson, the details are that he went up to a woman who was working in the pro shop of the bar area.
Correct.
And groped her, which means he probably grabbed her ass or even worse. Right. And she was like, no. Right. Like, what are you doing? Get out of here. Like,
that's very, very California accent there. Very valid.
Exactly. I was trying to do a California accent. I was like, get the who the fuck are you? And this is a great thing. Right. This is a great thing where there is, as someone who has a 15-year-old daughter, you're starting to see this more and more, where it used to be that, someone in a position of power would do that. Big celebrity would do something like that. And for whatever reason, in the last, 10 years, there's been a lot of articles written and a lot of books written by women,
Me too.
Just explaining why they wouldn't say anything, why they would tell their closest friend about it, and then they would just try to forget about it. And that is happening less and less, which is great. It's like the sunlight is the best disinfectant for these assholes. And to just eliminate this behavior from society, period. No one wants that, right? No one wants to hear that their daughter was exposed. Like, you would be enraged. And the fact that this wasn't like the woman's dad or the woman's boyfriend, it was, she went to club management, right? And this is Phil Mickelson. This is celebrity Phil Mickelson, right? Super valuable, like attracts other members to the club, Phil Mickelson, where you would think that there would be some deliberation, some elongated investigation that would eventually lead to nothing. That's another thing that would happen. Like in the past, if that was reported, then what would happen is eventually would get back to the celebrity. Hey, we had this report. Don't worry about it. We're doing an investigation, in quotes, right? And then so they do an investigation and nothing ever comes of it, because they're just trying to, appease the
That's like the NFL.
the employee's family.
Every time an NFL does like an internal investigation and a review, or they let a team do it, that is basically what usually happens in sports. And I think the fact that, if I'm not mistaken, they had video or closed captioning TV of him like locking one of the doors so she couldn't get out. I do believe I read that in one of these. So it was, I think they were like, they didn't have a choice. Even if they wanted to, I think their hands were like, it's undeniable and this is going to get out. Let's be on the right side of history. And kudos to them.
Man, I don't know if they even had a chance to see that video, because I've read a couple articles about this.
Yeah.
Just because the fascination here for me is 15 years ago, this would have been like mic dropping news.
Yeah.
This would have led Sports Center. This was Golden Boy Phil Mickelson. This was the guy every brand wanted to be associated with. This was the guy that was challenging Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
And he looked like he had a golf game that was actually attainable for the average golfer. Like, hey, if I really work on my game, I can be like Phil.
Yeah.
Because, he was never in the greatest shape, and, he wasn't embracing all the like biometrics and everything like Tiger Woods was. Didn't have 5 coaches and all these things. So it's like, oh yeah. Like, so there was incredible likability score among all sports celebrities, like top of the mountain likability score. Phil Mickelson 15 years ago. This news drops 15 years ago. I mean, it's a bombshell. But now that he has so publicly embraced the dark side, and he, did a deal that led to one of his best friends going to prison, and then that actually got him blacklisted from a number of clubs because there was like this. I can't remember the man's name, but he was like a very well regarded, sort of a golf coach and is sort of a businessman within the golf community, and a lot of the people that are inside the PGA were like, no, we're on his side. Phil fucked him. Yeah, fuck Phil. And then so Phil was banished from a lot of different clubs, but he found his way to this other club, this new club in California that he was able to join that would accept him. But then even this club, they get this report. They went out onto the course, found him, confronted him on the course, put him in a golf cart, and kicked him off the course and revoked his membership all that day.
And who among us has that not happened to? But usually, it's about 15 beers deep, like you said, on a bachelor party, not when you're one of the most famous golfers in the world here. Matt, do you think that a lot of this were just, if you look at what's trending right now in sports on Twitter, it's not even trending. And do you think it's because we're not even like 3 months removed from the most famous golfer in the world having another public display of DUI? I mean, is it just like, par for the course, with no pun intended?
Par for the course.
Yeah.
Par for the course.
Yeah. I felt right.
I would say Phil, that's the equivalent of a life triple bogey right there for Phil Mickelson. Yeah. And then just also such a half-hearted attempt at PR. Just like, oh, it was a misunderstanding. Moving on. Like, he doesn't even try. He doesn't care. Like, he's the ultimate DGAF. I am embracing everything that's evil within my being, and I'm going full DGAF. I think he's going to, I mean, that is the question. Like, who is going to serve extended jail time first? Is it Phil Mickelson or Tiger Woods? And again, 15 years ago,
or Rashee Rice.
Right. But 15 years ago, at the height of these two guys, none of this was even thought to be possible. If I told you, hey, in 2026, here's where Tiger Woods is at. Like, he's flipped his car over 3 or 4 times. He's been in jail. He's been, irrelevant in the PGA for the last decade. If I told you all that, you wouldn't believe me. It would be impossible. It would blow your mind completely open. And then I said, well, actually, and that's not the end of it. Now let me tell you about Phil Mickelson. And you're like, no way, you're from the future. I'm like, I'm from the future. My time machine is right over there. Let me tell you about Phil Mickelson and Tiger Woods in 2026. And no one, not a single person on planet Earth would even approach believing you.
You know what I would say to that?
They wouldn't believe a single syllable.
You know what I would say to that if you said that to me? If you time travel back, I would say, okay, well, at least we still have Bill Cosby.
Oh, yeah. And then let me tell you about Bill Cosby. Like, But I mean, Phil Mickelson was the Bill Cosby of the PGA Tour. Just in likability score, it was unmatched.
Yeah, but they came up in that era where you could get away with all this stuff. Like you said, if they were doing any of this back then, they certainly could have gotten away with it, and they just stayed in the game too long. Tiger's been in the game too long. Get out, go retire, and go live on an island somewhere where you can do this, and it won't even make the Caribbean news.
You know who else? It's interesting. Like there's another a player in the NFL that had a big scandal, Deshaun Watson. Right. So Deshaun Watson, remember, he's buying everybody homes in Florida.
Everybody loved him. Everybody loved him.
He had one of the great PR setups, and I'm sure it was very authentic, potentially authentic, a gifting of homes to people in the community. I thought that was one of the cooler programs that any athlete had ever set up.
Goodwill
in terms of charitable work. And so I thought, Deshaun Watson seemed like a great guy for a number of years. And then it turns out, no, not at all. And again, another situation where maybe 10 years prior, the women would not have gone public and he would have played his whole career out, retired, and no one would have ever known what had happened. But again, now the empowerment that they're just like, hey, no, you can't do this. And fuck you. Right. Even like you're creeping me out. You haven't, he's like, well, I didn't touch you. Yeah, but you locked the door and you were clearly approaching me in a way that was sinister. So no, you're not, you just can't get away with any of that. And any of us that have daughters are like so happy that like when they're out there in the world, there is a level of accountability now that did not exist 20 years ago. And it's awesome.
Yeah. So who's playing right now that 16 years down the line, we would be like, there's just no way. Like Kirk Cousins, who's the guy right now you would be the most surprised of if you found out that, he was caught soliciting a prostitute in Myrtle Beach. I don't know. Where does Kirk Cousins vacation? Panama City.
Right. We have to, like, it's so crazy. Like the most affable, well-respected are always the ones like Robert Kraft. Was there a more affable, well-respected NFL equity holder than Robert Kraft? How did he squeeze out of that? Yeah. No. But was he the one that was caught in the prostitution sting? Yes. Like every time, so your mind has to always go to the best, friendliest, coolest, most down to earth, most charitable person. That's the guy. That's the guy that's going down.
Which especially in the Robert Kraft situation, you could only surmise that spa must have been really good. That's the only takeaway you can come away with this, because why else would you even, the risk is so, I guess he didn't pay any consequences, so that doesn't matter, right? They didn't lose any draft picks from that, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, yeah. So my wife has told me a little bit about this whole phenomenon, right? Because she really, she enjoys like to go to these foot massage places and whatnot. But for her, it can be tricky, right? Because she's trying to find a new place, whatever. The place she loves closes. Now she's shopping around for another place, and she's like, "Look at the comments," and she shows me the comments on some of these spas, and I'm like, "Oh, that's a rub and tug joint, babe. Can't go there. Can't go there." And I'm like, "That's code. Like on Yelp, that's code for rub and tug." Right. So you can't, no, you're not, you can't. So she's like, how do I help me find a place that's reputable? And I'm like, it's going to be tough.
Yeah.
It's not going to be easy.
Matt, I'm thinking about the guy who's scrolling through YouTube and he sees predicting the biggest fallers of 2026. And we've hit everything from Evan Longoria BJs to Deshaun Watson to Bill Cosby to Robert Kraft and now rub and tugs. This is my ideal performance right here.
I mean, if I could have had, I'm trying to decide what I would pay if there was like one of these steady cams.
Okay, I was
Steadicams.
nervous about where you were going with that.
When they were following the course management. When they got, I'm sure they got into a fleet of like 3 or 4 golf carts.
Yeah.
To go confront Phil Mickelson.
Mm-hmm.
Like on the 16th tee.
Yeah.
And say, you have to leave and you're gone and never come back.
Yeah.
I like hit the look on his face would again, like just another brick crumbling like in his facade that he has like created, his whole persona that he's created, his whole ego that he has, his whole identification of self. Like, you can't do this to me. I'm Phil Mickelson. It's like, dude, you're not Phil Mickelson, man.
Yeah.
You're gone, bro. The guy you think you are, you're gone. You're gone from here. We're putting you in a cart. Get your fucking clubs. Get the fuck out. You fucking asshole. You can't treat people like that.
It's such a watershed. It's such a watershed moment that I guarantee somebody has video of it and they're just waiting, Diana Rossini style, when to drop it and when for it to be a slow news day and just crush us with it and let the internet do its thing.
$50. I also would want a microphone. I want to hear everything. I want to hear him. I want to hear how humiliating this must be. Because one thing for one of us, like when I was a kid, we'd sneak onto golf courses and get kicked off. Right. So I had like a whole golf ball reselling business where I would refurbish the golf balls and I'd sell them back to the golfers. And then we would try to play a few holes here and there. So we would like bring clubs. I don't know if anyone else does that. Let me know in the comments if you've ever done this, but we'd have a handful of clubs in a very mobile, because we had to be running. So a very small, like kid golf bag with like a handful of clubs, and we would be in the woods and we would run and we would be collecting balls, and then we would run out and like play half a hole. And then we'd run back in the woods. That's what you would do. That's what we did. We didn't have the money to play. And we might not even be allowed to, but you could sneak on, play half a hole, sneak off, collect a bunch of balls, resell them to the members. Like this is a classic kid business on a golf course, right?
Yeah.
And that's why
like
I'm talking about this. Is why this whole Phil thing fascinates me so much, because I sort of I've grown up, on a golf course, which was right near my house. So I'm like, it was nothing for me to get kicked off a golf course. I was like, what? I don't care. Like, on to the next project, right? But for him, the humiliation from where he was to where he is now, absolutely unbelievable. And you talk about like Robert Kraft, that spa. Whenever you see limousines lined up to get into like a spa parking lot in like one of these strip malls, something's going on. There's either something good is happening for someone, right? Someone's picking up drugs, someone's picking up some sexual favors. Something's happening when there's a line of limousines in some nondescript shopping plaza. You always want to be on the lookout for that.
Could be like a Make-A-Wish thing. Could be like a kid's birthday party. It's you never know for sure.
So who is the face of the NFL that is the most pristine right now?
The most pristine, I mean, probably Josh Allen, right? Or Kirk Cousins. I mean, if you're talking about like squeaky clean, those are the ones that come to the top of my list.
No, man, not Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is known as an assassin in the negotiating room.
Oh, Russell Wilson would have been a good one. That probably would have been.
Oh, that's it. That is it, dude. That is it. Oh my God. Like, please. Who is this guy? Michael Lobbin?
Yeah, Michael crushed it. Russell Wilson, I feel like they would be like, no, we're good. We're good, Russ. Why don't you you just keep waiting, Russ. You're next. You're next. I promise.
And he has done some weird things.
Everything he does is weird.
Like, he acts everything. Weird. Yeah. He goes hyper super like clean living, like to the extreme. where he's doing push-ups on the plane.
Yeah.
Like
high
the
knees.
team plane. He's trying to work out on the team plane. And it's like, hey, man, like you're going a little too hard and you're a little too performative with this.
Yeah, like
what
chill.
the fuck is going on with you, man?
we just lost and we're flying back cross country and they're not serving meals. Sit your ass down.
I think it's 100% Russell Wilson.
Yeah, he might need to do that to rebound from this like end of the spectrum he's gone on, you know, to kind of get some street cred back. Although I'm sure he'd find some way to screw it up, like it'd be an all guy spa or something.
The most heartbreaking for me would be Drake May. Drake May seems to be a down to earth guy with comes from a great family, and all his teammates love him. Does all the right things. Says all the right things. Is basically playing like Josh Allen, but before Josh Allen was ready to be Josh Allen, Drake May is like sped up the whole process, the whole development process, where he's Josh Allen 2 years earlier than Josh Allen was Josh Allen. That would be the most heartbreaking for me, because to me that he's like the heir apparent of like the fantasy QB1.
Yeah.
He's already been to a Super Bowl. He's going to bring another Super Bowl back. The first, non Tom Brady Super Bowl in New England is in his range of outcomes, multiple in his range of outcomes over the next 5-10 years. So that one would really hurt. The one that would make sense would be Russell Wilson.
Absolutely. And we need we don't have a guy out there. Jimmy G was dating porn stars actively while he was the starting quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. Where's that guy in the league right now? I don't even think we have one of those.
Yeah,
everyone is.
Yeah, we do.
Who is it? Who we got?
You don't know? Baker Mayfield had a bang bus.
Yeah, but he's married with kids, so it's more or less like a scandal and not like the open Charlie Sheen level, like I'm banging 7-gram rocks and finishing them, those kind of interviews. Like I guess it could be
in a Walmart parking lot.
I guess it could be Deshaun Watson. Maybe you're right about that. Wasn't he dating Mia Khalifa, if I'm not mistaken?
No, Deshaun Watson is still in the league, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So he counts. We can if we're creating like a scoreboard or we're drafting teams. Like we're drafting that would be that. See, that's where Russell Wilson would be a sleeper.
Yep.
Right. And like, but then basically like, you pick Drake May because, if he does come out, if we do learn down the road, that, he is a nefarious creature, then all of a sudden that would be like the biggest hit in the history of this game that we're playing.
Of course.
Right.
That would be devastating.
Whereas like chalk, Deshaun Watson's chalk.
Yeah.
Right. Baker Mayfield's chalk. I mean, if you're going to have a van that you park at Walmart for sex, I think that all comes out and it's all reported on. I think then you're in that category.
Oh, it was a Cheesecake Factory parking lot, if that makes you feel any better.
That's better.
That is way better.
So
probably
much better.
It'll be 45 minutes.
Was it a cheesecake?
Do you think they gave him like one of the little pagers so he knew when his table was ready? It's so great. Oh man, who doesn't love that?
And the thing is, like, Baker, the reason why I don't despise Baker, like I despise someone like Deshaun Watson, is because he never created the facade.
No, you're right.
Baker
That's what I'm talking about.
I'm not clean shaven.
Yeah.
I'm from a rural place. I'm rough around the edges. And, if some lady jumps in my DMs, I'm going to facilitate an encounter. And
sure,
that's just what I do.
This is a tough picture right here. That's a tough look.
This is it.
God.
See, I told you. He's wearing a hoodie with an oversized suit jacket and a wrinkled, crumpled hat.
Casey Dingus. Oh
he
gosh.
Hasn't shaved, and he's trying to create this whole unshaven mustache,
Mm-hmm.
dirt ball aesthetic,
Mm-hmm.
then he's not hiding it. He's not out here
No.
talking about how he's like buying homes for all kinds of people in the community. That's not, this is not what he's just pitching Domino's pizza and drinking beers, and it has a sex van.
Oh, look at this part right here. We got in the back seat, and then the host says actual sex or just oral sex, and she says oral, adding that he did not return the favor. The fact that that's in the interview, that's so, that is gold.
The reciprocality was in the article.
It's in the article. The lack thereof. His father didn't need to do the oral. Oh my gosh, that is so great right there. I'm so happy we're talking about this.
Yeah. Well, there's less of it, right? We had a bubble. We had a nefarious news bubble with NFL players. And yes, there's Rashee Rice. Yes, we're now years removed from the Deshaun Watson revelations. In general, athletes are better behaved, and the sooner we can just you sort of have these Phil Mickelsons age out of the system, the better.
Correct.
Right? Just let these motherfuckers expire, get them out of here, get them out of the public light, and then we can all move on. And then hopefully, it would be great if the league was just happy-go-lucky guys that are fun and cool and normal, and not sinister, like a Patrick Mahomes. That would shock me. Patrick Mahomes being sinister would shock me. Right? Wouldn't that shock you?
Yeah, especially because he seems like just such a bro, like such a chill. He's so likable compared to what I thought Tom Brady was during his run. Like an everyman kind of likability to him that I think gets underplayed a little bit.
If you found out that Tom Brady was doing some Silence of the Lambs shit, how shocked would you be?
Well, every time I see his face now, it's what I think he's doing.
That's what I'm saying.
He releases a coconut water called Good Nut. Like he's very much like CIA 9/11-esque, leaving us clues as to what's going on behind the scenes here. And I just don't think we're far from a revelation being brought out.
Yeah, I mean there seems some of these guys you have to wonder who's got what on them.
And how much is it worth?
Right. It's just like, what?
Yeah.
What? Yeah. So yeah, we heard, I heard there's rumors that Travis Kelce was a plant. Remember that? Remember that?
And that's the chat. The chat was on that before we even got to it.
Yeah. It's Travis. Yeah. Travis Kelce. If you heard, if oh my God, dude, Travis Kelce with the Taylor Swift connections. If it turns out that he's a nefarious creature, that would be a bigger. Well, that's a great question. So I remember where I was when I heard the news that Tiger Woods had gone to jail, and that the police had shown up because his wife had smashed the back of his window of his car with a golf club. That was wild. Like I remember seeing, sitting at my computer, reading the news going, this is not true. There's no way. No way. And then I asked other people to look this up, and they're like, yeah, this is all happening. Like this, Tiger Woods is going down. I'm like, no way. This is crazy. This is Tiger Woods we're talking about here. So, I think that
every 20 years, OJ, Tiger, and we're about 4 more years from the next one really sideswiping us without us being ready for it. But with this conversation's priming us.
We found out that Kelce was despicable, and because that cracks that's just like a crack in the universe.
Yeah,
where it's almost like it's like a
this is a good one. Lance Armstrong. I hadn't thought about that. That's another good note.
It's in a well, Lance. Think about Lance Armstrong. Lance Armstrong. He was the greatest giver in the history of all charities. He had the biggest charity of all time, where everyone I knew, literally everyone, was wearing that yellow bracelet, that yellow rubber. There was a time, it was like a 3-month period where everyone was wearing the yellow bracelet, and everyone was like, "This is a feel-good story. This is a feel-good story." But I do think that there would be a fissure in the universe where celebrity culture and sports culture collide. If Travis Kelce goes down, it would be Tiger Woods level. I think that's the one that, because of the Taylor Swift connection, that's the one that you could reach. That's the Tiger Woods heights of shock and awe scandal.
The Taylor Swift thing is what would do it, because otherwise, if not, he's just like Kellen Winslow, you know, like that.
Who fucking cares? Yeah, exactly. That's the craziest thing. Like, think about all these other tight ends.
Yeah,
like if it was Dallas Goedert, no one cares. Like guys that are like back to back in the ADP. Like, it's like, oh, do I want Goddard or do I want Kelce? Well, one has a little more touchdown equity. One has a little more, is it PPR? Like, what do we know? But if Goddard is found to be a despicable creature, I mean, it would be NFL news for a couple days.
Yeah.
If
and even then,
Kelce, it would be a bomb. A bomb would be dropped on the culture.
Sure. And, you know, depending on my Makai Lemon shares, I might not even mind if that happened to Dallas Goedert, which would be nice.
And, and then there'd be all these questions about, you know, did he expose Taylor Swift to an STD?
Ooh.
Right. There would be all these questions about that. Remember, we've had this happen before.
I would go the other way and be like, Taylor exposed him and he's taken the fall because she's a worldwide celebrity, and he's the what did Chris Carter say everybody needs? A fall guy. He's the fall guy and he'll be covered for life. He gets the parachute package from her, but he has to take the media crush.
So you're saying that it's Taylor Swift?
Yeah, secret society, you know,
is the sinister one.
Eyes wide shut.
He's just and he was just sort of wow, that's so that's wow. So she's like, this is like in boxing, like a tomato can, right? Like when a guy loses in a big championship fight, he goes and fights a tomato can so that he can, you know, build back his record so he can get another title shot. So she's looking at Travis Kelce, and he's like, he's the perfect tomato can boyfriend.
Yeah.
He'll never suspect all the shit that's going on under the surface. He's not going to ask about what happens at the house over here.
You're right. It's like Zoolander when they're sitting there and Zoolander goes to accept the award and he's like, Marty, he's perfect. They were watching Catching Kelce on Bravo or E or whatever it was on. And they were like, he's the mark. We're getting Kelce, or she, whoever was whispering.
And then because he's so deep in it, that, you know, he has all these sponsorships that she was able to secure for him, or her agency was able to help him secure, right? He's like, look at my sponsorships versus Dallas Goedert sponsorships. Because he's a nice guy. He's a fun-loving guy, but he's not his brother. His brother is the big personality.
Yeah.
Right. His brother is the big personality, like Gronk. Like if they were one guy, if the two Kelce brothers were one guy, that'd be Gronk.
Sure.
That's why Gronk's such a special guy.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Right? Like, think about all the things that Gronk had. Remember Gronk had the Gronk booze cruise? He had a big party cruise, the Party Rock Gronk cruise.
Yeah.
That was just where everyone's getting hammered at all times. And apparently,
it was like a floating music festival.
It was like a very, very wild boat ride.
Yeah.
And he has come away as unscathed as any celebrity who decided to go in that direction, to move their whole life in that direction, that Charlie Sheen direction.
Yeah.
He has come away as unscathed as you possibly could.
Yeah.
Travis Kelce does not have that personality.
No.
Right. And so, but yet he is, has booked all these sponsorships, because of this connection with Taylor Swift, because otherwise, I mean, if you want to know how much Taylor Swift influences Travis Kelce's sponsorship opportunities, go look up who's sponsoring Dallas Goedert.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go look up, go find out who's sponsoring Dallas Goedert and get back to me. Or
it's not good. That's not good. Not is it?
Sam Laporta. Like, oh no, someone good. Okay, how about Sam Laporta? How about Kyle Pitts? How about even Tyler Warren? Who's sponsoring Tyler Warren? Who's sponsoring Trey McBride?
St. Elmo's Steakhouse is all I can think of for Tyler Warren, probably.
Yeah, it's like, no one's sponsoring Trey McBride. No one's like, no brands are falling over themselves to get Trey McBride signed up, and he's completely elite, right? So it's like he would have to. Right, he would have so much invested. It's sort of like Phil Mickelson. The burn rate is so high that he wouldn't be able to risk it, his entire lifestyle falling apart or melting away. So he would have to say, "Hey, I'm going to ride or die with this Taylor Swift, and I'm going to go ahead and just help her deny everything and say that I know her very well and that she would never."
Yeah, God bless him, and God bless America.
Yeah. This has been great stuff.
Yeah, it was a nice primer.
I feel good because, I'm on all these podcasts. I went on with Johnny yesterday, and it was football. It was like sleepers and who you're drafting here. And Cody and I are walking through startups. So we're going pick by pick by pick. I'm on Trade Guys with the coach, and we're going trade by trade by trade. It's minutia. We're grinding the edges of all of these things. And then Friday rolls around, and I get to come on with my man Chuck Bass and just talk celebrity news.
Sometimes you got to scratch the itch, and sometimes that itch is in the gooch. And this is very much the gooch of the shows. It's an important part of everything that we have going on here. And I think the best podcasting comes when the vibes have been set accordingly at the beginning of the show. Had we done this afterwards and we were talking about EPA per rush in Seattle, I just don't think it would have flowed as well. I'm glad we did this.
If you like this, and it seems like a lot of people like this, I'm looking at over 300 live viewers already. So if you're watching this on X, go ahead and retweet it and say, hey, you guys got to listen to the first 45 minutes of the show. It's completely crazy and unhinged, and nothing about fantasy was discussed. Although you could say there was, we actually discussed a lot of NFL football players. We've talked about, we have listed a number of NFL athlete names that would rival any other fantasy show. We just didn't talk about things like ADP or value or drafting or adding or dropping or production or leagues or anything like that.
We talked about a lot of fantasies. I don't know about a lot of fantasy though.
Oh, look at even Chuck Bass. He usually does like the deep sarcasm, but he also has these just low hanging puns in him too.
Yeah, my dad had a lot of hustlers growing up. Thank you, I appreciate that. All right, should we take a quick break here and come back and get into some news and some risers and fallers?
I think we've primed the audience enough with nonsense. We should give them some actual fantasy football advice.
All right, lovely. We're going to get to that right after this.
I get asked, is AI ruining fantasy sports? And the answer is absolutely not. We've had consensus rankings available for a long time, but people subscribe to the player rankings at playerprofiler.com for superflex, tight end premium, best ball, even like offensive line rankings. Of course, your rookie rankings, your dynasty rankings, those are all available in the ranking service for playerprofiler.com. Password protected so the bots can't get to it, and you can maintain your edge. And use code PODFATHER for $5 off. Woo! It's a good deal.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Matt, I want to ask you again, how does it feel to come back from the ad and you're the ad as well? I mean, I could have just let you do the live read on air.
You're not going to believe this. You're not going to believe this. Okay. So I go down I go very deep when I get into a particular topic. And so Jared Dean.
That's a homer.
Why talk about ADPs when you can discuss STDs.
God, that should go. That's Twitter bio-esque. I might have to license that one.
I think, yeah, in my Twitter bio, it says ADP Whisperer. I could put STD Whisperer. I think STD Whisperer would be, I think that's a good one for Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, him and Casey Dingus.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I love it.
God, I forgot what I was talking about.
Let's
yeah. So I started. I heard this interview with Steve Lukather, who's the guitarist for Toto.
Yeah,
and there's a studio, a music studio in LA called Sunset Sound. It's a famous place where Van Halen recorded, many other big acts recorded there on Sunset, Guns N' Roses and everything. So that's where Toto did a lot of their stuff. They were studio musicians. He played on a lot of these Michael Jackson songs like Beat It, right? So the song Michael Jackson, the rhythm guitar, do 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 do.
Yeah.
That's Steve Lukather. He didn't get paid for that. I mean, he did. He got like just an hourly rate as a musician, but he didn't get any writing credit.
Yeah. For
actually writing the riff that became Beat It. And like nowadays, he would absolutely be getting like points on that on that particular production. It's unfortunate, but he lived a great life regardless by playing on all these great records. And so he has all these awesome stories. And he has a great sense of humor. And I was like, this was an awesome podcast. You should look it up. It's like the Sunset Sound podcast. You can Google it. Sunset Sound podcast with Steve Lukather. It's one of the best podcast episodes I've ever heard in my life. That's a Podfather sort of mansion lifestyle hack right there. Search for that on YouTube. You won't be disappointed. He says some things that are completely out of pocket because he's a boomer. Right. He's a boomer and that boomer humor, I appreciate some of that boomer humor. And so he's like, okay, telling it like it is. Right. He was talking about how one story that he told was he goes into the studio at 10 a.m. because he used to be on time. One of the reasons he was called upon to do a lot of these songs was like he actually would show up on time and he could read music and act in the era that was like a big deal.
Of course,
show up on time and read music. You could show up at 10 a.m. and there weren't many guitarists with big hair that would be able to show up on time at 10 a.m. and read music. So he was one of the guys, looked the part, everything. So he got called for all these different albums to play on. And he's walking down the hall and Prince is recording Purple Rain in the studio at that time. And he peeks in to the studio where Prince is playing and there's no one in there. He knows that that's the studio where they're recording Purple Rain, right? And so he just peeks in. He just wants to see what's going on. There's like no one around. It's early. Prince is in there. Okay. But Prince is in there in the middle of the studio, in the middle of the big room, with the drums and everything.
Yeah.
But he had wheeled that purple motorcycle. So he had wheeled the purple motorcycle into the studio and he was just sitting on the motorcycle in full Prince regalia.
He was aura farming to nobody at all. That's great.
He was aura farming before aura farming was a thing with no one in the studio. He was just sitting on the motorcycle. The motorcycle wasn't even on. He was just sitting on a turned off motorcycle in the middle of a studio in the middle of a morning and there was no one there. And he said, is one of the most inexplicable yet awesome things he's ever seen in his entire life.
How could it not be? That checks out. That's Prince lived his life like that. And that's why we loved him.
It was like, what? It is like, so that's the type of story that he tells. So anyway, that's the reason to listen to like a podcast. So then I found out from the podcast that he has a book. Right. And so then I put on his audiobook. Like when I'm running or whatever I'm doing, I'm listening to this Steve Lukather book and he's going through all the stories. I'm like, so if this hour and a half podcast episode is good, I bet his audiobook is amazing, especially if he's reading it.
Yeah.
And then so I'm listening to this, and then he says something when you're reading one book or listening to an audiobook, Typically, you can go into the reference material and you can find, if you like that, then you can find other stuff that's similar, right? So he goes, the best music biography that I've ever read was Barbra Streisand. He's like, she takes no prisoners.
The actress?
She goes completely ham. And, and I was like, am I really going to do this? And so I'm on the Audible app, right? And I'm alone in my house. My wife and daughter have gone to Vegas to watch No Doubt at the Sphere. This big girls trip.
The original
I'm alone
lineup
in my house.
Yeah,
I could do anything. Super guy. I could do a super guy day. I could be, I could be as masculine as you could possibly imagine.
Yeah.
From 8 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock at night, and no one would say anything about it. I could do whatever I want, right? And what am I doing? I'm like, I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm downloading the Barbra Streisand book on tape when I have the entire world at my disposal, and that's what I'm doing. And in this book, she talks about how there are like entire performances. There are like award shows that people will come up to her and talk about conversations they had with her, or like, and she's like, I don't remember anything. She's like, I have a pretty good memory. And you can tell from this book on tape, she has a really good memory. She's like, there are certain things like, just like they were overwritten on the disc.
Sure. Right? Who doesn't have that?
Right. I mean, we all have that. And like, so that ad that you ran for the player rankings.
Okay. We're closing the loop here.
I did not remember doing it. And it was recent. Like I did that a couple of months ago. Sure. And I'm now at the point where I don't remember doing it. I'm like, it's like me watching it for the first time.
Yeah.
It's such a weird out of body experience to like see yourself and like, I don't remember doing this, this is pretty good.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know how much longer after reading the Barbra Streisand audiobook that you started antidepressants, but that's one of the side effects of it is memory loss and, blacking out for certain events.
So I will say that Steve Lukather is right that she absolutely takes the gloves off in this book, but I wouldn't necessarily rank it up there with the Steve Lukather biography. I think if all of you want to go and like learn about how crazy the 80s music business was, I think you can go ahead and read the Steve Lukather book and you're good. I think most people in this audience can go ahead and skip the Barbra Streisand audiobook.
Well, if you guys want, for the next hour, I'm just going to read pages from Matthew McConaughey's Green Lights, and that'll probably be the rest of the show. Does that work for everybody else out there? Or we could talk about Chris Olave and his blood.
I will say one final thing. It is interesting. Like I didn't live in the 60s, but it is interesting to go back like 60s, 50s, 70s.
Yeah.
And just to understand what the culture was like. Like Barbra Streisand was the hugest thing. Like she was the biggest, most popular celebrity in the 60s. And I had no idea. Like I know my mother-in-law likes her. Right. But I just had no idea. Like I was just like, this is news to me. Like, and so now when I was talking to my mom, I'm like, how about this Barbra Streisand? She was huge. And she's like, oh, you have no idea. And I'm like, you're right. I didn't have any idea.
Was she pro or was she pro or against Vietnam? Did she talk about that in the book?
Yeah, she was, she went to some anti-Vietnam events. There was all these, there are all these like music festivals, and where there was sponsored by like Students Against Foreign Wars, and so, yeah, she participated in that. I mean, I don't think she was at like Jane Fonda level activism.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
she was on Nixon's enemies list, so that's fun.
She's an interesting lady. I'll just say she's an interesting lady. But again, very long audiobook, not something anyone needs to read. But I can tell you, she was fucking huge.
All right, I like that. Barbara Streisand. Is she big? Was she bigger than Chris Olave's blood clots?
So this blood clot thing, man, I got to tell you, it's one. I was terrified because I've been drafting so much Chris Olave, and I had just drafted him in yet another startup.
Yep.
And like the Chris Olave Tyler Shuck stack is my favorite stack in all of Dynasty right now. And so of all the guys to have like the most serious medical condition of the off season be revealed, I didn't really want that to be Chris Olave. Now I know that it wasn't just recently revealed. Like if this was a week 18 revelation from last year. I know that, but I had just assumed that like, hey, you take blood thinners and you know, you get medical advice about what you should be doing, and it's essentially solved. And then to learn that he's still not practicing fully because of it, it worried me at first. It was like a shock to the system. And then you dig in a little bit and you realize, okay, this is ultimately something that they are going to have a medication that he's going to be able to take, and he's not going to be at risk of having like a cardiac event any more than anyone else. So you can continue to draft him with confidence, and that's right there in the news feed. I mean, that's the thing. Our news team does a great job of breaking that down. And if you go to playerprofiler.com/news, you could see that it is basically like, hey, this sounds bad, but it's not as bad as it sounds for his career. He led the league in air yards last year, and most of those unrealized air yards were because of Spencer Rattler. And if you go and look at the just the efficiency difference, just the EPA difference between Rattler, which was hovering around like 0, which is hard to do for a quarterback, and then the spike when Tyler Shuck is under center, it's pretty impressive. Tyler Shuck is pretty. I have a hard time seeing Tyler Shuck face planting this year, given that they're in the NFC South, which is a quarterback friendly conference. They're going to be throwing a lot. There's going to be a lot of points scored. There's not a lot of elite, defensive talent in that division. And they're adding all these weapons. They even traded for Devon Vele. So I'm in a startup right now where I have Shuck and I have Olave, and it's best ball format. It's a best ball dynasty format. And like, I'm crossing my fingers that it gets back to me and I can get Vele. Like, because again, the guy ahead of Vele is a rookie. And every rookie receiver, the vast majority of rookie receivers have an onboarding process. Like in week 1, they're usually not commanding 12 targets. Right? They have to get acclimated to the league, figure out how NFL defenses are going to be covering them, how cornerbacks are going to be approaching them, and then figure out how to win those individual battles, get open, squeeze the football, all these things. It makes sense that for a running back that just has great instincts, he can go out week 1 and produce. A wide receiver, it's intuitive that it would take more time. And so then you're going to say, okay, this is a high volume offense. And then the guy that could be running the second most routes in week 1 is Devon Vele. That's pretty good.
No, I mean, I couldn't be like this blood clot thing. The more I'm glad like you kind of did the bell curve of the story, because it sounds terrifying. A lot of people think of like Chris Bosh in the NBA, right? Pretty much ruined his or ended his career. And the only like notable example we have in the NFL is Alaric Jackson, a guy who's in the news for a reason that probably would have made the first section of this show as opposed to right now. But he missed 8 games in 2022. And he hasn't had an issue with it since until last summer when he had it pop up again. But he was able to kind of mild it out and get back on track, much like it seems like Olave is getting ready to do right now. So I say all that to say it's going to take a lot more for me to get off of the number 1 target in a Kellen Moore passing attack. I agree with everything you said about Chuck. Whoever the number 2 is on this offense is going to have a pretty nice role as well. But Olave is the guy that I want, because just the target consolidation under Kellen Moore, going back to the Cowboys, going back to the Chargers, going back to the Eagles, it's just the top 2 guys. And we know who number 1 is going to be. Number 2 is a little bit more up for grabs because, like you said, the rookie stuff with Jordan Tyson, the injury history that he has. It could end up being Juwan Johnson again, but I think that would be
Juwan Johnson's big, man. Johnson's big, and Juwan Johnson's gonna be a top 10 tight end this year, right? I think that basically what's gonna happen is you're gonna, like you talked about, there's gonna be these 3 receivers that are gonna be commanding the vast majority of the targets. It's gonna be Chris Olave up top. It's gonna be Juwan Johnson out of the tight end position. It's not gonna be Oscar Delp this year, and they really don't have another tight end that can command targets there anymore. So it's going to be all about Juwan Johnson. The offense is going to take a step forward. If we're excited about Chris Olave with a full year of Tyler Shuck, why not also be excited about the 29-year-old Juwan Johnson, who is a catch first tight end? Yep. And then I think it's going to be Vele early in the season. And then the question is, will Jordan Tyson be able to take over? And we're projecting him to take over eventually, but I think in the first few weeks of the season, it's going to be more Vele, and then it's going to be Tyson taking over. And having all those guys in Dynasty is great. I think I have more Juwan Johnson in Dynasty than any other tight end. I have as more Chris Olave than any other sort of a high-end wide receiver in Dynasty. Yep. I have as much Shuck as I have anyone else. I think I have basically it's in the NFC, the Saints. And then in the AFC, it's been Titans.
Yeah.
Where I'm getting all this Cam Ward. Like I either get Shuck or Cam Ward in every superflex startup as my 3rd quarterback. And then I'm trying to get as much Carnell Tate and as much Chris Olave as possible.
Sure.
And then at running back, I'm all in on Nicholas Singleton. I think that he is everything is teeing up perfectly, where he had Katron Allen there competing for touches at Penn State. That was suppressing his production. Then he has the foot injury that scares teams away. That's the only way that a player of his physical skill set, what he brings to the table, that's the only way a guy like that falls to the 5th round.
Sure.
And so that's where it's incredible value in the 2nd round of Dynasty rookie drafts. I was just in a rookie draft where I got sniped on him, and it really hurt me. It hurt deep. It did because when you're there I was at the 103, and then so my next pick in the 3rd round was the 203. I had penciled him in. Like that's a rookie draft where I'm not even thinking about my 2nd round pick. It's going to be Nicholas Singleton every time. So then he goes at the 202. I almost short circuit. My whole brain melts down.
It's a pretty good reason to melt down, because there's just so few picks you're going to want in that 2nd round as it is anyway. So to see somebody get pulled from there, and that's a Tennessee run game that I think is dying for somebody to come in and give them some juice. I think Spears got his shot, couldn't really get there. I think Tony Pollard was I think we got a last gasp from Tony Pollard at the end of last year. I don't think it's going to be indicative of who he's going to be this year coming up. Their line has a high ceiling, but a really low floor. I want to see them come together as well. But the actual passing offense, I really agree and pass catchers coming out of the backfield, I'm definitely on board with you here. And Juwan Johnson, I don't want to sleep on him one more time. 3rd in slot snaps last year, 4th in routes run. I mean, if he was like the tight end 3 through the first 7 weeks of the season, would you be surprised?
No, I love Juwan Johnson. It's the right tight end with the right skill set in the right offense at the right ADP. Everything just lines up. Bang, 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 bang. I don't get it. I see him still available, and I'm like, okay, guys, I guess we're doing this. There's one tight end super premium startup where I started with Sadiq. And then I was like, I came right back with Kelsey. I was like, okay, I got Kelsey for this year, assuming, like we talked about, he doesn't have to take the fall for a Taylor Swift, Silence of the Lamb situation. And so, assuming that he's fine and he does, doesn't have any personal problems off the field, Kelsey's going to be the target leader, or going to be right behind Rashee Rice in targets. And he's, again, the ADOT continues to go down, the efficiency continues to decline, but targets are targets with Kelsey. So I'm like, okay, I got the 21-year-old, I got the 41-year-old, and then I'm going to take a guy right in the middle, throw a dart in the middle, 29-year-old Juwan Johnson. I'm covered. Like, that's it. I got my guy. I got my youth for the future. I got my immediate targets, and then I also have a guy I can play all season in flex. That's a great hack to look at the rules and say, hey, wait a second, let me get this straight. So I get 2 points per reception for tight ends. I'm going to go ahead and go be the first one to draft a third tight end in this particular startup, and I'm going to be playing Juwan Johnson in flex all year. Like, there's a ton of teams, all tight end premium, of course, where I'm going to be playing Juwan Johnson in flex this year, and go ahead and stop me. Go ahead and try. And so, but in that Saints passing game, what I will say is, I remember when the draft happened, it was very close between Tyson and Carnell Tate. And there was so much buzz around Tyson leading up to the draft. It was thought that Tyson could go before Tate. Teams were talking about trading up to get Tyson. You got to get 5 to get Tyson. And it's like, oh, wow. Like, the NFL really loves this Jordan Tyson skill set. Great. He might go before Tate. Now that the dust is settled and we know that Jordan Tyson is the number 2, and he's going to be the number 2 as long as Chris Olave is in New Orleans. He's going to be the number 2, right? Chris Olave is a 30% target share player with, the best air yards in the league, top of the air yards food chain.
Sure.
So no, you're not going to just supplant that guy. I don't care how good you were in college. So that means the stratification between Carnell Tate and Jordan Tyson is actually huge.
Yep.
One guy has wide receiver 1 on his team tethered to an ascending young quarterback in Cam Ward. That's Carnell Tate. And Carnell Tate, whose college production was suppressed by being across the field from the greatest wide receiver prospect of all time.
Yeah.
Or at least since Calvin Johnson. So the stock continues to rise day by day on Carnell Tate, because we're not hearing anything that's concerning.
Sure.
It's all positive reports. Now, do I move him up because of positive reports? No. But it's great to see nothing negative about Carnell Tate coming out. He's not struggling to pick up the playbook.
Yeah.
He's executing at a high level. People are impressed with him. Nothing but great things to say about him. So he just keeps rising and rising and rising. And that's the thing about player profilers, player rankings that I really appreciate. It's just that there are some players where we're just completely untethered from consensus.
Yeah.
And Carnell Tate is one of those where I look at where we have Carnell Tate, and we have him at wide receiver 9. And we had him at wide receiver 9 when he was like wide receiver 18 in Dynasty and other places, and he was still sort of adjacent to Jordan Tyson. And I'm like, no. Landing spot matters.
Yep.
And it matters in this particular case. This is huge, where you have a guy who is now tethered to a young 101 quarterback, and he's gonna basically be Chris Olave plus.
Yeah.
In Tennessee, and it's gonna be absolutely fantastic. Just go ahead and draft all of him. Get as much as you can. And so I know I said I was sniped on Nicholas Singleton, and that really hurt me. When I was sniped on Carnell Tate in the 3rd round of a recent Superflex Dynasty startup, I gasped.
Yeah, get your refund, get your money, and get out of there. You just got to move on to pack up, move on to the next town.
I mean, have you ever done this? I mean, it was the first. I think it's the first time in my life I've been doing a draft just on my phone, doing a fantasy draft, and I audibly gasped.
Just got to leave work early. You just got to get up, get out, go to the bar, go find the van.
I had penciled in Tate with my third pick in the startup, like at the beginning of the draft. Didn't even have to make my pick. I knew I was going to get Tate every time.
Yeah.
Right. And then when he went the pick before me, it was like,
that's when you got to take the van down to the Cheesecake Factory. That's what those moments are for in life. You just can't pass up the opportunity.
Thank you. That's
great.
You have to love, though, in terms of you finding the best possible headlines to mock on social media. When you hear the Titans coach talk about how they have dual bell cows
with the rare 3 bell cow, right? Is that what that said?
Well, our news headline is the rare 3 bell cow.
Yeah.
You never see this, right? Out in the wild, if you ever like happen to stumble upon a double bell cow, like you need to, call the local zoo or a zoologist if you know them, some PhD zoologist, and be like, listen, like you need to come down here immediately with your kit, and we need to tag this. You need to know this exists. Get a DNA sample. We need to figure this out. This could revolutionize our whole understanding of evolution. You need to get down here immediately. What I'm looking at right now is I'm looking at a double bell cow.
Yeah.
Because they don't exist in the wild, because to be a bell cow, you have to get an 80% opportunity share. You have to be one of these like true, like Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey. That's what a bell cow is. That's the definition of a bell cow. So then you're talking about somehow on an NFL team between Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears, according to the coach Robert Saleh.
Sure.
We're talking about how they have there are 2 bell cows on this football team. They have dual bell cows, but that would imply a 160% opportunity share before we even talk about Nicholas Singleton, who is the guy the beat reporters are talking about, has been getting more work and has looked like a primary back, has looked the part of a bell cow. So you have a guy that's starting to get more work, get more reps, is the one guy that looks the part of a proper NFL bell cow. But then they have these 2 other guys that are also bell cows, according to Robert Saleh. So then you add all that up, that's 80% plus 80% plus 80%. So in Tennessee, Chuck, we're projecting at the very least for these 3 running backs, a 240% opportunity share collectively.
Well, you know what? They don't have a state income tax down there. There might be some shenanigans that they can kind of fudge the numbers. Maybe they're looking at it like they're going to run 150 plays a game as opposed to like 66, which is what Chicago led the league with last year. And so each of those guys will get as much volume as a normal RB1 on another offense. That's the only way this makes any sense.
The FF Scout says that he has Juwan Johnson as a tight end 1. I'm in multiple startups with this guy. And I'm also in another startup with a bunch of player profiler people. And I got to tell you, I didn't realize this catch-22 where when you just put out there in the world, hey, everybody, I'm willing to take over an orphan. I'm willing to be part of your startup. Just email me, podfather@rotounderworld.com.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is you're necessarily going to be in a league with at least one person who listens to your show and understands who you like.
Correct.
But this is, even if there's one guy in a league, it's incredibly frustrating because you always see that guy and you're always wondering, where's that guy in the draft? I'm like, where's the FF Scout? Oh, the FF Scout's there. Oh, so I'm definitely not going to get this guy and this guy because I know they're top of our rankings and he's going to gobble these guys up.
Correct.
So I can't get, because I'm only soliciting league membership on shows, and I'm not like actively trying to find leagues that I'm completely disconnected from. There's always some sharp person in my draft sniping me. I would love to know what it feels like, because I haven't felt it yet. I would love to know what it feels like to be dropped in one of these startups that's actually powering the ADPs that you're seeing that are just so crazy. These ADPs are so ridiculous where they have certain players ranked versus like, I can't even find LaQuint Allen and he's going to have a role right away. And he's like behind players that aren't even on NFL teams anymore. What is that about? I would love to know what it's like to be in one of those startups. And you know what? Get whoever you want in every round. That would be great. I wouldn't know.
I post if I do a draft, I almost exclusively post it on Twitter, and I try very hard to make sure when I go to send that person a DM, I haven't sent them a league before. So almost every league I'm playing in, I'm playing with a completely fresh crop of people, many of which are intelligible fantasy guys, a lot of which are just guys who enjoy a good shit post. And that's my target demographic, not because I think I'm better than them, but because they bring a level of unpredictability and wild cardness to the drafts that gets my juices flowing. And it takes a lot to get my juices flowing these days.
Question for you. Okay. Who is have you been in any startups yet?
I have not done a startup this off season. I've done mainly fast draft, mainly a couple redrafts just to, keep up appearances.
Yeah. So, by the way, code fast, $5 deposit match, code fast on fast draft. There's both rookie drafts for money, but also faster, easier to manage best ball drafts where you don't have to draft out to round 22. You can just get your guys and get out. That's the fast draft way. I would say beyond Carnell Tate, beyond Chris Olave, the wide receiver that I'm getting the most of is Ryan Flournoy. And then there's a news that comes out. It seems like every time I'm loving a guy and I'm getting him in a bunch of drafts, news will come out and betray me. Like where it's like, Brian Schottenheimer comes out and praises Ryan Flournoy, says he's ready to take the next step. And I'm like, can you not, dude?
Yeah.
Can you not, please? I'm loving life. There's, for whatever reason, there's this lack of appreciation for a 26-year-old with great athleticism who was productive at a small school, has been learning the system, building rapport, is now established as the locked-in wide receiver 3 on a team that doesn't really have a second tight end that they want to get on the field. They're one of the few teams that doesn't, so they're going to be in a lot more 11 personnel than most teams. So Ryan Flournoy is a highly valuable asset. We have him way ahead in our dynasty rankings than anyone else, and I'm trying to get him everywhere. But even a guy like that, where I'm thinking I'm going to get him in 5 out of 5 startups. No. There's someone that's going to be even more bullish, but he's the one guy I think 4 out of 5 is pretty good in startups to be on Ryan Flournoy. So that he's also a handcuff wide receiver, right? So he has standalone value given all the 11 personnel they're going to be running, but then also if there's any injury there, I mean, you already saw this when Lamb was banged up. This guy's putting up 100-yard games. So they have a lot of incentive. I'm loving Ryan Flournoy.
They have a ton of incentive to keep him going and progress him because George Pickens is playing on a 1-year deal right now. I mean, like if they want to motivate, if they want to encourage, if they want to wrangle this guy in, or if they want to alienate him and just focus on Flournoy's development, they have an opportunity to do so. I've said on my number one sticking point across all of fantasy is that my favorite offenses to get pieces of are offenses going into year 2 with no changes. And that is the Cowboys to a T. Like they have an opportunity to be one of the 10 best offenses we've seen the last 10 years. I mean, Dak has been a part of 3 of the 15 best offenses since 2010, I think it is. And they probably have better overall weapons now than they've had at any point during that 10 years. So if you can get the third banana who could be second banana a lot of games, shit.
I'm looking at a startup I'm in where I started Tate at the 310. Right. So I'll tell you the draft. I started Ashton Genty, Jeremiah Love, Carnell Tate. This is superflex non-tight end premium. Okay. So Genty, Love, Tate. Then I went Mendoza, Shuck. And then guess who I got at the 603?
LaQuint Allen.
Dak Prescott.
Oh yeah.
What?
That's free money.
What? Dak Prescott, his ADP is broken. It's broken. Even Mahomes is going around later than he should.
Correct.
What do you think of them extending Mahomes into 2033?
He's going to be my most rostered quarterback by the time we get to September. I mean, he was the QB2 last year. He injured his leg, honestly, at the right time. If you're going to project for his 2026 season, how he's going to be, I'm not worried about any of the weapons because he threw for almost 5,200 fucking yards with MVS and Juju Smith-Schuster. They bring back Eric Bieniemy and they get rid of Matt Nagy, thank God. And he's going in redraft quarterback 11. It's stupid to me. That tier of quarterbacks is stupid as far as how they're ranked. Last year, only 3 quarterbacks taken in the top 10 returned top 10 value. I think you're going to see something similar again this year.
All right. So, question. You prepared a list of players, something like a top 10 list.
Correct.
That have fallen the most.
Yes,
I have the furthest from 2025 to 2026.
Yes, these are top 100 players only. So we're not going to count Caleb Johnson, who was the biggest faller from last year's drafts to this. We're not going to count.
Still interesting though.
He is. No,
Caleb Johnson's still interesting in terms of that the fall has been that extreme.
Correct. 350 spots if we're getting technical with it. And there's other guys in there too that just aren't notable that have massive falls. But I just wanted to focus on.
I will say this. Well, before we get into this.
Yeah.
The easiest way to get edge in startups is to not draft a lot of rookies after, let's say, the top 25 rookies are off the board. So for me, it's Ted Hurst, right? Sure. It's Ted Hurst. Well, really, it's Ted Hurst out to like DeMont Claiborne. Right? Depends on the format, who goes first, whether it's Claiborne or Hurst. But the Hurst Claiborne line of demarcation for me is when I just stop drafting rookies and startups, because you can always find guys that are going to produce this year that aren't even that old that are proven, because even a guy like Caleb Johnson could absolutely faceplant. If a guy like Caleb Johnson, who was a mega producer at Iowa, comes out early and has size and a well above average speed score, like I said, history of college production, and has a grinder vibe about him, like, I'm going to go out here and I'm going to knock people's heads off from the running back position. You sort of a culture fit with the Steelers. Everything seems to line up, and then he face plants that hard. What are you doing drafting 4th round receivers, 5th round receivers? All these fringe tight ends, all these undrafted running backs, right? Like I saw someone draft Jamari Taylor ahead of a bunch of running backs that we know are scheduled to get touches. They will have roles this year. What do you do?
So that's somebody who saw an outside zone highlight of Taylor and then said, "Oh, Liam Cohen runs outside zone a lot. This is a match made in heaven." Yeah.
And then I talked to Cody and he's like, that guy didn't run the 40 because he runs a 4.75.
Oh, boy.
And I'm like, yeah, I know. And then I'm seeing all these guys, they're drafting Jeff Caldwell and there's perfectly productive, reasonable picks. Like a great example would be like a Greg Dulcich. Like, look at some of the tight ends, the rookie tight ends that get picked in a startup before Dulcich goes. And that's where your edge is. So if you're constantly getting a guy who's going to be a starter and is projected right now to be either 2nd or 3rd on the team in target share, depending on whether you count Devon Achane or not.
Sure.
It's going to be Dulcich. And he's only 26 years old. And he's a day 2 pick. So he has everything that these other guys have, except that he's at the top of the depth chart.
Sure.
right? But he's going rounds after guys that are, like a Max Clare. Max Clare could be great, right? But at the moment, he's 5th on the depth chart.
Yep.
So I'm going to go ahead and take Dulcich. You can go Clare, but if you round after round after round, if you grind that edge, you essentially stop drafting rookies after Claiborne and Hurst are off the board. You're going to look up and suddenly, week 1, week 2, week 3, you're going to have a bunch of assets that have accrued value, and a bunch of these guys are just going to be shedding all their rookies, and they're going to be just trying to mine what's left of the waiver wire, and you're going to be able to do trades. You're going to be the one that's going to be banking 2027 second and third rounders because you have too many good players on your team that are producing, while others are panicking that so they're not getting anything out of 5 or 6 of their guys. And then all these rookies in a wave in the month of September are all going to end up right back on waivers.
Somebody's going to draft Skylar Bell you can have Nathaniel Tank Dell.
This is a thing that happens.
You could probably flip. Did you know that the Texans?
I got the aforementioned Ryan Flournoy. The receivers that go, the rookie receivers I've seen go before him, I was embarrassed for the people that were making these picks. Like, I wasn't even celebrating it. I swear to God, I was not celebrating it. I was embarrassed for them.
Yeah,
what are you doing?
They're just, people are afraid. They're afraid to take risks, and they're not even really risks. You know that the Texans, with that offensive line and with the receivers they had, they ran the 5th most 11 personnel last year of any team, which I think is something to really keep a note on. Christian Kirk gone, Xavier Hutchinson hopefully playing a vet role. You see these cuts that Tank Dell's making in practice. I mean, I think that him and Jalen Noel obviously cannot coexist. And one of these guys is going to be playing that slot role. And I think that's going to end up being pretty valuable this year.
I disagree.
Ooh, finally.
If I'm a Texans fan, I think we need to distinguish people that are Texans fans versus fantasy footballers.
Sure.
Okay. If I'm a Texans fan, I'm loving this. I'm loving that my team is a Super Bowl contender. If CJ Stroud can be rookie year CJ Stroud, they're a Super Bowl contender, one of the best defenses. Okay. And they probably can't make it there because of their offensive line, but we'll see, right? They have weaknesses on the offensive line. If they can somehow get a patchwork offensive line to protect Stroud, that's all they need. That's all they literally, if they can hit on one tackle, right? If they can develop one tackle this summer, who's going to be like middle of the pack, right? Yeah. Just an average NFL left tackle, average NFL right tackle. If they could just, again, stitch together average tackle play, Super Bowl. Like
they need to be the Patriot. The Patriot.
Very excited about that team. You can get very excited about the team. They got the running game with David Montgomery. Like David Montgomery is like the final piece. If I was building a Super Bowl team, the last thing I would do is add a running back, right? But the guy I'd be looking at is like a true bell cow profile, age 28, inexpensive veteran running back. That's the final piece. Right. That's the final piece that you would bring in and be like, okay, we've now checked every box. Because again, if it was my team, I would have cornerstone left tackles, right? I'd have the Chargers left tackles and right tackle. I'd have the Chargers tackles, but Alt and Slater.
Yeah.
They can't both play left tackle, but they are left tackles. One of them is playing right tackle just because it's like we have an embarrassment of riches here at tackle in Los Angeles. Great. Right. So the final piece would be, okay, now we've got our running back. We have everything we could possibly ask for. We're not going to fumble in a critical situation on the goal line. Everything's this team's buttoned up. This team's ready to go win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Feels great. And one of those elements that you would hope for if you're building a team is to have 4 receivers that can go out and produce and make plays, right? That you have a slot flanker and you have another slot flanker just in case he gets injured, and they're both good. Same thing with your X position. which is what they have. They have Collins, and then they have another X in Jaden Higgins. And
correct.
It's an embarrassment of riches at wide receiver in Houston, so they can play Jaden Higgins at Z. They don't have to play him at X, even though he's a proper X, and there's not that many proper X's left in the NFL. So they have multiple. With Tank Dell, he's a slot flanker. So is Jalen Noel. Here's the problem, man. This team is not designed to throw the ball. You need to think about from a fantasy production standpoint. What are the mechanics behind fantasy point scoring? It's everything you have that you like in Dallas is there. And the continuity that we love about Dallas is also they haven't upgraded their defense. That's the best part about Dallas's continuity.
They're trying.
Is the bad defense. They're not trying hard enough. So it's not going to happen this year. They're going to be a bad defense again. They are going to win a lot of games in Houston 2017. Am I right? Okay.
Yeah, I could see 21-17.
Okay, 21-17. All right. And who's the player that's going to get the most touches besides J. Stroud?
David Montgomery.
So it's going to be David Montgomery, defense, a few throws. The first throw is going to be to Nico Collins. The second throw is going to be to probably Tank Dell. Sadly, for those of us that like Jaden Higgins, it's not going to happen.
Correct.
Right? That's what I'm seeing. So sometimes you see a player and you're like, oh my God, I love the story. I love Tank Dell. He's fun. He's a human joystick player. We all love human joystick players. And he's healthy and he recovered from a gruesome injury. And this is a human story. This is a team story. But it's not a fantasy story, Chuck. It's not a fantasy story that I can tell myself. There isn't one. I've been tempted to draft Tank Dell in a number of startups so far, and I can't do it. I won't do it. I keep going back to Adonai Mitchell. There's a story there where there's a lot of fantasy points to be scored with Geno Smith under center on a bad team that just wants to lose and try to get Arch Manning next year. How do you do that? Well, it's the Arizona plan. Everyone's going to be implementing the Arizona plan. The Jacoby Brissett corollary is in play for a team like the Jets this year. And Adonai Mitchell had over 1,000 air yards last year, and he's available late. He's available even after Tank Dell. So when I think about it, let me get this straight. Adonai Mitchell's 3 years younger than Tank Dell. He's on a team that's about to get a massive quarterback upgrade. They do not have a noteworthy defense. And he is penciled in as the wide receiver 2 to start the season. And he's finally getting the best quarterback play of his career in Geno Smith, which is hard to say out loud, but it's actually true.
Sure.
So you're like, okay, that's the direction I'm going when I want to score fantasy points, especially for best ball, for spike weeks. But even not, I just put a guy in flex and sometimes you get a spike week, sometimes you don't. With Tank Dell, he's probably going to be second on the team in targets, and they're going to be low ADOT targets, and he's not going to be that productive. Not a lot of touchdowns there, not a lot of yardage. He's going to siphon targets away from Jaden Higgins. This makes Jaden Higgins pretty much a stay away in fantasy. It makes Jalen Noel very difficult to stomach at his Dynasty ADP. I'm like, how long do I have to stash this guy before I can ever get anything out of him? And so the only Texan I've drafted in a startup or in best ball that I could think of recently is Dalton Schultz. Like, Dalton Schultz is
steady Betty
that goes after Juwan Johnson in tight end premium and tight end super premium. You can always trust that nobody wants this guy. And eventually he's such a nobody wants him toxic player in drafts. Eventually you can grab him as a high floor best ball guy or as just a usable piece in tight end premium dynasty. That's Dalton Schultz. But that's the thing. When you have a low volume offense, think about the low volume offenses around. There's the Dolphins. There's a bunch of low volume offenses. The problem is Houston is that rare low volume offense with awesome wide receiver weapons. It's rare. You don't usually see that. And it's hard to process in your head. but you're like, oh no, they're all going to cannibalize each other. Like Nico Collins is a fade. I can't draft Jaden Higgins right now. He's just a hold in Dynasty. Everyone else is a sell. And this one guy, Dalton Schultz, is a value play because for whatever reason, he's radioactive. No one ever wants to push the button on him. He's the unsexiest tight end of all time.
He's the only player on the Texans that has hit 80 targets in each of the last 3 seasons.
Dalton Schultz. True. See, that's true. And there isn't a lot of target competition in his particular room. Right? The wide receiver room has all the target competition, and there's not really a tight end that anyone's worried about.
So Houston, I want to ask you this. Houston last year.
That's my assessment of Houston would be sometimes a player emerges and it's an exciting human story. It's an exciting team story, but it really only serves to siphon opportunities away from everybody else. So it's a net negative on the fantasy stock for an entire group of players.
So Houston finished 7th last year in attempts per game at 34.8. They're basically tied with Chicago. Do you think that number comes down?
Yes. Okay. Of course it's coming. That's not their identity.
So what do you think? What do you think was the genesis?
Do you think they signed David Montgomery because they want to run more or run less?
Well, they did it with, let's see here. They did it with Joe. They did basically the same template with Joe Mixon in 2024. And they were 33.2 attempts per game, which was 11th. So is it the target distribution that's making this, that's allowing this offense to perceive like they're not a top 15 passing attack? They were 14th in EPA per pass, or were they in success rate? They were.
We have them bottom half of the league in pass attempts this year.
But what would you say the difference between the 12th team and the 19th team is?
And the way they've played, it's just that you cannot expect pass volume. I mean, I could be wrong. It's possible. I mean, I things happen, but they're basically going to try to hide the fact that they have bad tackle play. And the way to hide that, the way to account for that is to run the ball. That's the best way to do it, is to run the ball. I mean,
which they couldn't do a lot of last year.
I can give you CJ Stroud's yardage the last 3 years. It's gone from 4,100 to 3,700 to 3,000. The team pass plays per game were 36.1, which is ranked number 12. Pace of play was 2.02, which is 13. Right. So you add David Montgomery, and that quickly drops into the bottom half of the league.
Yeah, just without looking into this right now, my guess would be they were subbing in the short yard rushing game with short passes, which is something that their offensive coordinator, Nick Caley, came over from the Rams. Before that, he was with the Patriots for 7 years. Those are two of the best teams at that we've seen.
If personnel dictates that. If your best running back is Woody Marks at the time, I would do the same thing.
Yeah.
But if I'm looking at Woody Marks, I'm like, this is the top of our depth chart now. I'd be like, I guess we're gonna warm up the screen game.
Yeah, let's get Xavier Hutchinson out in the flat, and that'll get us more than we would have if we handed the ball off to Woody Marks or Nick Chubb. They tried with Nick Chubb, they just couldn't do it.
Yeah, I mean, so if you look at the air yards per attempt, CJ Stroud was exactly average. 8.0 is exactly average. So
do you think having a player like Tank Dell helps that? If he's Tank Dell. Now he has to be Tank Dell. I was hoping Jalen Noel could have been that guy when we were sitting here at this time last season. They didn't think he could, or they didn't have the opportunity to put him in a position to be that.
I have talked myself into this many times. That a team's trend from year to year, the thing that the logical sort of run pass ratio and the well publicized team philosophy is all going to change because player X has arrived.
Yeah.
I have talked myself into that many times, and many times I've been wrong. And we're here to bring the hard truths to people. We have almost 1,000 live viewers. Everyone that's listening right now, share this with a friend, If you're listening to the podcast, share it. Let people know about risers and fallers. It's a great show. It's not typically this football free, especially the first 45 minutes.
We've crammed more football talk into this segment. And then, so I think.
I believe in delivering for people what they came for. And if you want to give them extra stuff, that's fine. So they came for at least an hour of
football
talk, and now we're approaching that, and I feel very proud that so all you got was bonus content about bachelor parties in Tampa and Tiger Woods.
And I think there's a craving for that in June. When people see that their favorite player is when people see that LaQuint Allen might be sharing snaps with Jamari Taylor, they want to know about Bill Cosby. They want to know.
I think when Phil decided to go with the all black aesthetic, did you notice that one day he showed up and his entire his wardrobe was 100% black?
Is he trying to be Shooter McGavin? I don't understand. It's like he watched that one day and said, you know what, golf is missing this, and it was not missing that at all.
Now that we know he is a sinister person, I think that he should go to the black contacts.
Oh, like a shark's eyes?
Just pure evil.
Like black eyes, like a doll's eye?
Yeah, like I just think he should just go like he's already one of these dead-eyed people, right? Because this is what happens, right? When you embrace the dark side. I think go all the way. Right? There shouldn't be, if you want to go all
leave
black,
no doubt. Yeah.
No color even in your eyes, man. Just let the whole world know that it's just a black heart. Just a black heart. So I want to close it out rapid fire.
Okay.
If you don't mind me grabbing the steering wheel of the show.
Of course. Let's do it. You're the pro.
We have 10 players that we're trying to talk about whose ADP has completely cratered from last year to this year, not even counting Caleb Johnson. So let's go through it and we'll say, put the player on the board. Is he a buy or a sell? Is this a value play or is this a falling knife? Right.
Like
so
that.
Are we getting out of the way? Are we sidestepping the falling knife, or are we gonna catch it?
All right. Let's start with the guy. We'll go from biggest ADP drop to the end of this tier. Brian Thomas Jr. is the leaderboard of 2026 as far as the guy that has fallen the most. ADP of 15 last year, 72 this year. He's dropped 57 spots.
Catch the knife. Catch the knife. Draft this man. Draft this man. Okay. Because there's other news that Travis Hunter is not even ready. So he's not going to lose snaps to Travis Hunter. No danger of losing snaps to Travis Hunter. Parker Washington is going to be there, and great rapport with Jacoby Myers. That's what Jacoby Myers does, builds great rapport with the quarterbacks. But there's going to be more pass attempts there. This is an offense that took a step forward last year. He took a step back. But one of the most important news items for me is when I see the word pain-free. That's a keyword for me. So just like when I see Marvin Harrison Jr. is dealing with like pain points in 4 different places, which is why he's not 100% in camp. Yeah. He's like, I'm dealing with this and I'm dealing with that and I'm dealing with this and I'm dealing with that. I'm like, okay, crossing you off. I'm not drafting you. Yeah. When then Brian Thomas goes, last year I was dealing with this, that, and that. And all I've been doing this year is just working on my strength and conditioning and hitting the jugs machine, and I'm loving life. And I'm like, I'm drafting you because of that. Yeah. Like a clean off season is a ramp to a big fantasy season.
So when you see podcast after podcast and Twitter post after Twitter post about how Parker Washington's per reception metrics rank with Puka Nacua and JSN, how does that make you feel about this?
Makes you feel fine, because in Dynasty, I think that longer term, it's going to be the Brian Thomas, Parker Washington show. I think you can just sell low and move on from Travis Hunter. I think enjoy this season. If you have Jacoby Myers, I think it's going to go well, but he's 30. Yeah. and just know that it's going to be the Brian Thomas, Parker Washington show for the foreseeable future for dynasty purposes. But for best ball purposes, Brian Thomas is like you built a best ball receiver in a lab. So there's very few formats where I wouldn't be wanting all the Brian Thomas Jr. And Parker Washington's target competition is Jacoby Myers. It's not Brian Thomas. These guys are different players.
Yeah, I think people underestimate how much of an ability he has to be the best guy on a top 5 passing attack. And you just can't say that for a lot. You can't say that about Marvin Harrison Jr. just to, bring up another guy who I think is probably viewed similarly in this tier. I don't think you can say that about other guys that are going around there as well. You can't say that about
I'm perfectly happy to have this exact conversation about Marvin Harrison Jr. next year. And draft Marvin Harrison Jr. next year in the double-digit rounds.
Yeah.
I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to peer into my crystal ball, and we'll be talking about Michael Wilson like we're talking about Parker Washington. Perfectly fine.
All right, let's pop on to our next guy here, who I think is an interesting one because I'm surprised that he's going so low because I feel like everybody's got something nice to say about him. Sam Laporta is our second biggest faller in ADP from 52nd last year to 97th this year, barely going in the top 100, 45 spots. This is the guy who was going as the tight end 1 just a season before that. So he's had a pretty precipitous fall. How are you feeling about Sam?
I'm catching this falling knife too. I'm buying it. There's back problems that have been holding him out, but I think this is one of those things where, Rob Gronkowski had back problems throughout his career. He had a truly mind-blowing rookie season. And he's still very young, just 25 years old. He is a hyper athlete. Again, there's not a lot of competition in that tight end room for targets. And this is going to be a pass-first offense. Where was David Montgomery versus where is David Montgomery now? Follow the David Montgomery. Wherever David Montgomery is, they're going to be running the ball a lot. And so they're going to be running the ball less in Detroit, more in Houston. That's the David Montgomery corollary.
Sure.
And Detroit has the best, most friendly fantasy point scoring schedule of all 32 teams in the NFL. And Laporta has a locked-in role on a prolific offense. He himself has shown to be a top 5 talent in fantasy football. The athleticism lines up with the production.
Correct.
And so this is a buy. I prefer Kyle Pitts, but I would also happily draft Sam Laporta.
Yeah, I think you're going to get kind of a poor man's, and it's, I don't want to say poor, like a, what do you want to do this? Like a mall food court version of Colston Loveland. I just think that I don't think enough people are paying attention to the fact that most of what Jameson Williams did came with Sam Laporta off the field and how they worked themselves out with Drew Petzing coming over, who was obviously champion Trey McBride's ultra breakout. Obviously, I don't think things are going to go that far, but we're sleeping on this Lions passing offense. I think they're going to be incredible, and I think he's going to be on the field a ton. So as far as a guy
he is, I would not say mall food court. I would say,
well, I like a mall food court.
I would say he is certainly a discount version of Colston Loveland. That's just what he is.
Yeah. Boom. Love it. And just for checking in sake, David Montgomery is going 12 spots of where he went ahead of last year. So just to kind of give people the vibe there, let's get to, I love this. We're hitting every position. Our third biggest faller is going to be Sir Bucky Irving, which this one hurts me personally the most because I love Bucky. He's fallen from 24th last year to 54th this year, and he's falling even more as we speak. 30 spots. How do you feel about this knife?
He's radioactive.
Oh, no. He was handling 19 touches per game post-injury, and the whole team's better and the offensive line's better.
Right, and they're all talking in the building about how they can't let that happen again because he's 190 pounds.
195. He's only a few pounds off from Kyron Williams.
I was not super bullish on Bucky Irving coming out because of his size. I did not think bell cow was in his range of outcomes. And then suddenly the NFL changes their entire philosophy. And it's like, oh, Devon Achan's a bell cow. No, Bucky Irving, all these 190-pound bell cows. First time ever. Okay, fine. Okay, this is the new reality. But My point was there will eventually become a durability rubber hitting the violence of the game road, right? So he just doesn't have the body mass to withstand that and doesn't have the athleticism, the explosive athleticism to avoid contact. If you're Achane, you can get to the sideline. That's fine. Bucky Irving's going to get blown up, right? He's not explosive enough to handle that kind of workload at this size. They've realized it, and they went and paid Kenneth Gainwell more than $10 million. And they've already talked about how they've solved their short yardage back problem. They had a problem with short yardage going back to the Rachaad White days, and like we've solved it with this guy named Sean Tucker.
Sure.
Right, who had a heart condition, and that's why he fell out of the draft, but he is a size speed specimen, was productive at Syracuse, and like similar to Nicholas Singleton, just kind of fell in the draft. He was a falling knife on draft day because of concerns about his health, and now those concerns have been solved, just like the Chris Olave blood clot problem will be solved, and he's commanding a role. So now we have a full-blown committee, and this has been it laid out by both beat reporters and coaches. So just don't draft him. I wouldn't even draft Kenneth Gainwell. I love Kenneth Gainwell, but Kenneth Gainwell is getting steamed up. As Bucky Irving is falling, Kenneth Gainwell is rising.
They're going within 9 spots of each other. Currently, right. Bucky's
so
at RB.
Converge. Yeah. And that makes sense. I get it, but I don't want either of those guys. Like, I had years of drafting Kenneth Gainwell. I don't need any more Kenneth Gainwell. The guy I'm drafting is Sean Tucker.
So who's the worst running back? Let's just say there was a big fall. Who's the worst running back you think you would take over Bucky Irving? Is it RJ Harvey, Tony Pollard? Is it Chuba Hubbard? Is it Rico Dowdle?
I like Chuba Hubbard this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chuba Hubbard. This is a run-first team in Carolina. And now with Tet McMillan having this foot injury that is not – you got it 6 months ago and it's not fully healed. This is a concern. This is going to be a very run-first team, right? I would not ever draft Bryce Young. He's not fantasy viable because he has no one to throw to. It's just Jalen Coker putting up numbers because they do have to throw to matriculate the ball down the field. And the guy that's healthy, the guy just got the extension, and the guy that's comparable to Michael Wilson is Jalen Coker. So Jalen Coker is a great value play, but when you have a low volume offense, you need to be shopping in the Jalen Coker aisle, not the Tet McMillan aisle. You need to be shopping in the Tank Dell aisle, not the Nico Collins aisle. Okay. But if you're Detroit, I'm shopping in the Amon-Ra St. Brown aisle.
Yeah.
You're picking up what I'm laying down.
I am. I threw Chuba on here because
Chuba Hubbard, man, a guy like Chuba Hubbard, this is a 2,000-yard rusher in college. This guy has 50-plus targets on his NFL resume, 1,000 rushing yards on his NFL resume. He has demonstrated bell cow qualities, and then they let Rico Dowdle go. They have Jonathan Brooks, and Jonathan Brooks is, in theory, he's theoretically better, but Chuba is the reality that's better. And so Chuba is my guy in that zone of ADP.
Yeah, and I'm glad we brought him up because he's actually on this list. He's the 10th biggest faller, going from 46 last year to 67th. 21 spot drop. This team knows how it wants to win. They want to limit Bryce Young's passes, set up play action, hit explosives down the field, but they want to run the piss out of the ball. I don't know that Jonathan Brooks can do that. Like you said, theoretically, but I can't think of a lot of times where a guy hasn't played football and going on what feels like 3 years now and comes in is the guy. The Panthers were the 9th best run blocking unit last year, and they added Monroe Freeling in the draft. They're going to continue to be a top 10 run rate team. I think they'll probably even be higher than that because the defense.
And Ike Ekwonu is not going to be ready for the start of the season. Who's their left tackle? So this is going to be a very challenging season for Bryce Young. What do? They like to play defense and run the ball in Carolina. That's what they do.
It's their only chance.
Chuba Hubbard is the tip of that spear. So I don't understand his ADP. It makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
I want exposure to this run game badly because of all the value there. So if I don't get Hubbard, I want Brooks. If I don't get Brooks, I want Trevor Etienne.
All right, let's get to a player that I don't think I've heard anybody talk about this offseason, and that's going to be Courtland Sutton, who is the fourth biggest faller we have on this list. Down 51 from 51 last year to 77th. He's 26 in dropped ADP. How do you feel about him?
This is a tough one, man.
Because it is hard.
Typically, this is a guy that you want because nothing has really changed except they added a receiver. They added Jalen Waddle, but that's not a Jalen Waddle's a slot flanker. He does not play the Courtland Sutton position. Right. So the big loser from that acquisition was a guy like Troy Franklin.
Yeah.
Even a Marvin Mims. A lot of the targets will come from them. And there's not a lot of targets that go to tight ends in that offense.
Yeah.
So when you start to do the target math, Courtland Sutton still appears to be a buy. I think this is is like one final season for a big bodied 30-year-old. The cliff is coming. It's either this season or next season, but the cliff is 100% baked in. So definitely. I'm 51-49 on the buy side.
Okay. So I want to parallel this to the conversation we had about Houston, where Denver last year was fourth in attempts per game, despite having an elite defense, 36.3. Do you equate a lot of that to Dobbins going down and they just couldn't run the ball much with RJ Harvey? Do you think that they like to do a similar version of converting the short yard rushing game into a short passing game with Bo Nix and some of these guys that can get open in space? Or do you think that number comes down again? Because Troy Franklin had 104 targets last year. I mean, is that what Jalen Waddle will have? Only instead of 700 yards, it'll be 1,100 yards?
This is a team that drafted yet another running back because that's their identity. This is a great defensive team. They've done a good job acquiring offensive line talent. They keep adding more running backs. When they talk about the featured players on the offense, after Bo Nix, the first player they talk about is J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah.
I mean, these are just facts.
Sure.
So I am not drafting Jalen Waddle for that reason. I'm fine with Courtland Sutton just because his ADP has cratered.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to go with like a Justin Jolie, right? Because he could be, the next Evan Ingram in that offense. Didn't test, but he's like an athletic sleeper. He's like a black box prospect that, he could be a lot better athlete than anyone realizes and could really thrive in that role. So again, this is what we're talking about. Dalton Schultz, Justin Jolie, maybe one of the receivers has a fair ADP, but these are the types of offenses where that's exactly how you're going to approach them, where it's like, they want to run the ball. Yeah. They have a great defense. And the ADPs aren't necessarily that cheap. Like Nico Collins is expensive.
Yeah.
Jalen Waddle isn't as expensive as Nico Collins, but you have to pay. It takes real draft capital in fantasy football to get Waddle on your team.
You're passing up.
I'm out on these in these situations. I'm out.
Waddle goes in about the deepest range.
Waddle. Yeah. I like Tank Dell. Right? I like Jaden Higg. I like these guys. I don't like Jameson Williams. Like, I don't like Jameson Williams. But he is the right player in the right system on the right team in the right situation where I may not like him, but I have to close my eyes and push the button on him because that's what we're doing. We're not drafting guys we like, guys with great personalities that we think we like and actually are completely evil.
Yeah.
We're drafting guys based on what the math says they're going to do in terms of fantasy point production.
The fourth round, you have to choose Jalen Waddle over Ladd McConkey Emeka Ibuka, Luther Burden, Terry McLaurin, Devontae Adams, the aforementioned Jamison Williams. That is a potentially roster changing decision with who you go with in that range.
What are you getting? What do you really think the ceiling is for Waddle?
I just don't know how much evidence of a Sean Payton passing attack and the frustration and the divorces and the financial ruin it's caused to fantasy managers over the years. And that's why you like the cheap guys from these offenses.
Yeah.
All right. How many more do you want to do?
Let's go rapid fire. Let's try to go rapid fire. We're now over 2 hours in.
Yeah.
Let's try to go rapid fire. We've now overcorrected for the start of the show. Right. We've we owed the audience a debt of football content and fantasy content specifically, and we've more than made up for it. We've paid it off. It's been overpaid.
All right. Malik Neighbors, 25 spots below last year's ADP.
Run and hide.
DK Metcalf, 25
it's
spots.
Possible that you get nothing out of Neighbors this year.
Yeah, and you're paying up for him. He ain't going that far down.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
Malik Neighbors, 25 spots below last year's ADP. Or sorry, DK Metcalf.
DK Metcalf is one of these big-bodied receivers that is going to retire earlier than anybody thinks.
Ooh, like
we're
Calvin
talking about a
Johnson-esque.
player that I could see him retiring before he turns 30.
He's not too far away from that.
I mean, this is a potential cliff year for DK Metcalf. At age 28, he was already incredibly limited, right? In terms of his route running, he ran just fade routes and curls.
Yeah, he was limited.
And short drags. Like, that's all he can do. And so defenses have figured him out, and he's getting slower, or at least sluggish, more and more sluggish with every day that goes by. And he has not focused on his strength and conditioning at all, or his diet or anything. He just famously said, I'm the best size speed specimen in the league, right? I'm the new Megatron, and I'm just going to ride it out, and I'm going to see how far it can take me. But I'm not going to try to build on that in any way. Like, if you remember, like, Randy Moss went poof. He was Randy Moss, and then the cliff happened so fast because he admitted it. He's like, I go home and watch video games. Like, I'm not here to, like, hang around in the gym. No one ever saw Randy Moss in the gym. They were like, he doesn't lift weights. So same with Julio Jones. They're like, he comes in, he just benches 135 a few times and leaves. That's it. And then all these guys, age 30, gone, vapor. And they all end up on the Titans somehow. Like, they all have a stint on the Titans. Andre Johnson was on the Titans for a year.
Julio
Jones, Randy
Hopkins.
Moss. They all do a year on the Titans and put up that 400-yard season, and it's just pathetic. DK Metcalf, I think, could do that even earlier in his career. So it's actually why I don't mind Michael Pittman this year. I think Michael Pittman is he's a tempting choice, given that his ADP is also cratered. Yeah. But I think he is much more likely to command targets. He certainly takes much better care of himself than DK Metcalf does. So I think that he'll have a longer career than DK Metcalf, and I think he's going to be the wide receiver 1 in Pittsburgh this year. So I like the value on Pittman, and Metcalf is a stay away. I'm trying to get rid of him in every league I have him. I've taken over 20 orphans in 20 days in Dynasty as a Dynasty stunt for the Sonic Truth podcast. I still have one Metcalf, and I can't get rid of him. Even though it's a win now team, I'm trying to get rid of him. It's a win now team. That's how much I despise the fantasy asset that is DK Metcalf.
His game has aged very poorly. I don't know how a guy with his traits can be 69th in separation last year and 74th in contested catch rate. That's embarrassing. Scout beat me to it because I was thinking about it as you said it. He could be a bell cow in Tennessee. I was thinking that's why all those guys go there, is because they know Tennessee can support several bell cows and several alpha, true alphas.
Bell cow. Yes, he's 228 pounds. He has the size.
There are going to be people this year.
He could be. Yes, well, maybe not the bell cow, but maybe if he eats a few more Skittles, man, he can get to like 230, 235. He can be their fullback.
There are going to be several people in drafts this year that are going to take DK Metcalf over Carnell Tate, Parker Washington, Brian Thomas Jr., Cortland Sutton, all going within the same round. And I don't know if they're going to make it to 2027.
I can't believe that's true. I can't believe it. I mean, pushing the button on DK Metcalf is such a self-loathing activity.
Let's end with what I think is a really interesting one, because it's a high stakes pick, and I think it's going to be our anchor. He's going to be an anchor player for a lot of rosters this year. Saquon Barkley is down 10 spots from last year. He's going at 13th overall, pretty much a staple of the 1-2 turn. How do you feel about Saquon? It's tricky. It ended with a tricky one.
I really don't want to answer this. I don't know how to answer it. I don't know what he is.
This could be a segment for another show.
In his career, age 29. I have such a difficult time. Such a difficult time drafting him. Such a difficult time drafting Christian McCaffrey. At least we've seen it from Christian McCaffrey. Like, I'm more convinced that Christian McCaffrey can continue to produce at an elite level in his late 20s. The step back that we saw from Saquon Barkley could be completely randomized. And it was just wrong place, the wrong time, wrong situation. Just this happens. Like, you 1 year a running back can score 20 touchdowns. The next year they score 8. And there's almost no change in their efficiency. It's just the exact game situations that they happen to get the football.
It just,
so that's where I'm like, I don't trust myself to say fade him. I would never do that. I would never say fade him. And in seasonal leagues, I want some Barkley exposure because there's no one there. I mean, it's
correct.
Bigsby. I mean, he is a bell cow, and he's still in his 20s. As long as you have the 2 at the front of that age, I'm still okay with And again, with modern strength and conditioning, he was already at such an incredible level. Think about him versus a guy like Josh Jacobs. I mean, Josh Jacobs came into the league as a plotter coming out of Alabama. Right. And he's been leaking athleticism. And so the end is nigh for him, but not for Barkley. He came in running a 4.4. Now what does he run? Maybe a 4.45? Like, he's still super explosive. He's not just getting by on guts and guile and feel. And just physicality like Josh Jacobs is. Like, he's still doing Saquon Barkley things. So I am inclined to draft him. It's just that I love Ashton Genty this year. Right. So I'm not going to be all in on Barkley because I'm already all in on Genty. It was a similar ADP.
This is another very similar roster changing decision at that turn. If you're looking at running back, you're looking at Genty, you're looking at Saquon, you're looking at Chase Brown, Achane, if you love you some PPR, but mean, he's definitely going to lead the group there. But
Genty,
I just think that Saquon's played a lot of games the last 2 years. He's handled a lot of volume, but it's right here in the comments. Scout talked about it. The offensive coordinator, Kevin Patullo, would not get another job in the NFL if his last name was Kevin Shanahan. Like, he's done. You bring in Mannion over from Green Bay, who they've just been a very run-heavy team over there, and they've squeezed a lot out of Josh Jacobs. I think they can squeeze a lot more out of Saquon Barkley this year. And like you said, the roll of the dice from one season to the next for running backs, it depends on the circumstances. Travis Etienne was the He was drafted as the RB30 last year, and he finished as the RB10. The previous year, he was the RB8, finished as the RB35. How much changed in Jacksonville?
I can't win. I can't figure out this Travis Etienne.
Other than the coaches.
Achane Etienne. So
Achane Etienne, that's right.
Achane Etienne.
Achane Etienne, yeah.
I've been saying both, and just to make sure I cover my bases so that I get it right, that I'm respectful of the player.
I think that's the first time I've said it out loud on a podcast since he announced that. So I got my one out of the way, and now I'll be back to form.
I want to respect the player, what they want to be called. These are American gladiators, and they put their health on the line for our entertainment. I respect the hell out of that. They want to be called something, I'll call them that. You want to be called, you want me to call you, Galaxy 5876, I will. Right?
Is that in the chat right now? Yep.
No problem. No problem. But I also want to be able to call people by their last name and have my audience know who the fuck I'm talking about. Right? So I have no choice. Right? So if I say Achane, I'm like, well, which Achane?
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that, bro. I'm not doing that. So I'm just going to go Etienne Achane. And then eventually it just becomes Etienne, and then it eventually just meld into one name, Etienne Achane. So I would prefer Barkley over everyone else you listed with the exception of Genty.
Boom. All right. We know what we're doing. We know what we're getting. It feels like a good way to end the show.
Yeah, you can go out now.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you later.
You know, it's important to me that all of our media be free, but it is you, the premium subscriber, with access to data analysis, the rankings, Dynasty Deluxe, DFS Dominator, the world famous draft kit. You get that content and you make all of this possible. The free podcasts, articles, NFL draft content. So I must give a special thanks to all of our premium subscribers. You make all of this possible.